What's up, everyone? It's Q from Retro Q Gaming, and this bit of information has been out for about 2 weeks now, but I've specifically been waiting and holding off on it just to see if anything was announced to clarify it, or anything was changed, or anything was reconfirmed, or anything like that in the meantime. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like that's the case, so we'll just get on into it anyway. So, we all know Tales of Zestiria is the latest game in the fantastic Tales of series, and it's also the first Tales of game coming to PC. So it's going to launch on the 20th of October on PC, which is 4 days after the release of the PS3 and PS4 version. Now, like I said, about 2 weeks ago, the announcement was made, along with all the new info and details and stuff, that the PC version is going to be a direct port of the PS4 version. So it's going to have all the same graphics and settings and textures and all that stuff as the PS4 version. It's not going to be an enhanced PC port, so there's no extra settings above that. It does have 4K support in the sense that the HUD and the items or the icons and all will be appropriate for 4K, so they won't be all stretched out and horribly pixelated, but the textures will still be textures made for a 1080p resolution. So that's the two main things out there. Now, there is one other huge one on top of it that has pissed a lot of people off. The game, even on PC, will be locked to 30 FPS. Now, of course, there could possibly be ways around it, like changing a config file or something like that, but the game itself is actually locked to 30 FPS, which has pissed off a significant amount of people. I myself, I'm a bit unhappy with it. I was really looking forward to playing this on PC at a higher resolution, despite them actually finally coming out and saying that it would still be 1080p, basically. But I was looking for a more fluid playing experience as well. Now, some people can argue, it's like, well, a game like this doesn't really matter about all that, fluidity and about the frame rate. But the combat is the perfect example of why it would benefit from it. Especially because it's going to be the first PC version, and it just gets ported from the PS4 and with no extra enhancements and all. It's not a good start for them, essentially. And some of the previous games had actually been 60 FPS on consoles. For example, the Tales of Symphonia on the GameCube. Now, not the PS2 port and not the PS3 port and not the PC port, because that's going to be based on the PS3 version, but the actual original GameCube Tales of Symphonia was 60 FPS. Combat in, I believe it's Tales of Graces F and I think it was Tales of Xillia 1 were both 60 FPS in combat. Now, I'd have to double check those ones. I know there was two Tales of games that were 60 FPS only in combat, and it you could really tell because the benefit for it. Now, like I said, I would have to double check just for, well, I would say clarity's sake, but just for reconfirmation. But either way, the point is that has upset a lot of people, and there's a significant amount of people unhappy with that on the Steam forums. Now, one thing on top of it that does add a little bit of credence to the fact that it could just be a direct PC port or direct PS4 port onto the PC, not only with all the textures and all that kind of stuff and all the settings that they've said, is first off, they used all their comparisons have been between the PC and the PS3 versions. They've never compared PC to the PS4 versions. And one other thing, well, this is a bigger one as well, is the recommended system requirements. So I'll go over them real quick. The recommended system requirements for Tales of Zestiria on PC are Windows 7, Windows 8, or Windows 10 x64-bit, and Intel i3 530 2.9 gigahertz, 2.93 gigahertz, or AMD Phenom 2 X4 940 3 gigahertz. Now, these are very weak CPUs by today's standards. That's a first gen i3. I'm pretty sure all i3s are dual core chips, so that's significantly lower power chip by today's standards. Not even by today's standards. That chip is about 6 years old, if not even more, and it's still a fairly weak chip by these standards. So it would fit in line with the hardware of a PS4. It's not an insult, people. Don't go mad. I'm just saying, from an actual hardware point, they're very comparable. Memory, 4 gig RAM. The PS4 is, well, depending on what way you look at it, it's up to 8 gig, but it's questionable how they handle that. Graphics, NVIDIA GeForce GTX 560 Ti or AMD Radeon HD 7850 or equivalent. The 560 Ti is very similar to what's in the PS4 for certain things. A lot of places will say up to a 750 Ti, maybe a 760, but again, it's all very comparable for the kind of performance and settings you're getting on PC, or sorry, on PS4 would be comparable with what you'd get out of a 560 Ti on a PC. So DirectX version 9, standard stuff. Hard drive space 12 gig. As I remember reading somewhere that it's also 12 gig. It needs a 12 gig install on the PS4, so that lends credence to that all the textures and all the stuff is exactly the same, and that's really the main thing. So it's not a great start for Tales of fans on the PC. Yeah, sure, it's great that some of them are they're finally getting the game if they don't have, say, a PS3 or PS4. So I mean, in that point, it is still a slight win, but at the same time, it's understandable why people with more important, or not more important, why stuff like this is more important to people with necessary hardware, especially because it's the Tales of series first entry onto PC. It was developed from the ground up knowing that it would be on PS3, PS4 and PC, and they still opted to tie some of the in-game systems to 30 FPS, which is why they cite that it has no improved PC performance as frame rate wise, and that's a bad lazy decision overall, especially because they knew they'd be bringing it to PC with a platform that has the potential for massively improved performance. Too many P's in there. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on it. I personally was going to get it on PC as well as PS4 because the PS4 has a physical collector's edition that I really like the look of, because the Tales of collector's editions are always fantastic. So, but now, because of all this, I can just get it on the PS4 and not worry about the PC version, essentially saving myself €50. So I'm a little bit happy about that. Now, since all that's taken care of, let me know what you think of the entire situation in the comment section below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You can follow me on Twitter, details in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the rest of the videos in my channel.